Angela Blevins with the introductions.
All right, boxing fans, we now go to the heavyweight division scheduled for 8 rounds of action. When the bell rings, your referee will be Jerry McKenzie. Now introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, he's wearing the black trunks with the yellow trim. He weighed in at 229 pounds. He comes to this bout with a pro record of 6 wins, 1 loss, and 4 wins by way of knockout. Let's welcome from Detroit, Michigan, Derrick Banks. And now across the ring in the red corner, he'll be wearing the black shorts with the yellow lettering. He weighed in at 230.5 pounds. His record, 10 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, and all of his wins were by way of knockout. Let's give a Fort Worth welcome to Hollywood, Florida's own Richardo Kennedy.
All right, gentlemen, I'll already give you instructions in the dressing room.
Heavyweight explosion continues here with this 8-rounder. Richardo Kennedy coming in here with an 8-1-1 record, 8 knockouts. We just saw him recently in heavyweight explosion in July out in Indiana. Took out Guy Sonnenberg in 2 rounds. All his wins have come by the KO route. He's got 1 draw that came against Ron Preston back in December of '94. 1 loss, got dropped by Larry Carlisle in the first round. He only weighed 196 pounds then, Bob.
He's grown a little bit since then. And you can see when Derrick Banks turned pro, he was in the 180s. He's obviously grown up a little bit since then himself. Two good, solid young heavyweight prospects.
Banks has what I call in boxing, and you and I have discussed this before, hiatus disease. Won his first 2 out of 3 pro fights in 1990 and took 2 years off. Won a 4-round decision, took another year off, another 2 years off.
Yeah, those sometimes can be explained, but in Derrick's case, that's not the obvious explanation. He's a good fighter. He's been around from camp to camp. His big win over Jonathan Grant is what got everyone's attention when he went out there and murdered the $1 Million Man from the MGM Grand.
Yep. Banks, 24 years of age. Kennedy, 26. Kennedy living down in Hollywood, Florida right now. Only the 2nd time he's fought out of the state.
Now these poor guys have probably warmed up 3 different times this afternoon while waiting in the back of the arena for their chance.
Final swing bout of the day, and that's make young fighters crazy. Huh,
I mean, and old managers older. It's the power of the telly.
See, where I would get murdered when I would have a fighter in a swing bout that would go at the end of the card is how many hot dogs I had by the end of the night. Kennedy stalking Banks.
Yeah, Derrick's already been warned twice for holding by Mr. McKenzie, but so I gotta get in the flow. A lot of times they don't get enough time to warm up prior to these fights, but with the punching power of these 2 fighters, you don't want to find yourself in a position of coming out here cold, or you might go out cold.
Twenty seconds to go, round number 1. We're scheduled for 8. Kennedy in the black shorts without the stripe. Derrick Banks has the gold trim. Exchange jab. That's the end of round number 1. Round number 2, scheduled for 8. Kennedy never been past 6, and he's been that route twice. Derrick Banks never been past 4.
But you know Derrick Banks training up there in Colorado Springs, and He's handled by Dick Woods, really, who's a real well thought of young trainer up on his way up, but he had to Dick's son's getting married today, so he ended up having to send Derrick out here with
I was
with
going to
one of
ask
his
you where
former
Dick
fighters.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, he's taking care of some serious business.
Marriage is serious. Yes. Kennedy starting to land some good body shots. He's got Banks. Banks has been almost in retrieval mode the entire fight. What's it like when you've got somebody you expect to see in your corner, like hitting the road without your main man like Dick Woods?
Yeah, well, it can be very disconcerting for a fighter. There's no doubt about that. You know, sometimes you feel like, gee, you know, do they care about me? Or, you know, well, especially what happens is when they're going with another fighter, when you have a scheduling conflict and they start to feel like, hey, he cares more about him than about me. I always have the financial remuneration be the judge of that. Who's ever getting paid more? Just kidding. But it is. You gotta be aware of all that stuff and
Well, I don't want to
try
criticize.
to deal with it.
I don't want to criticize Dick, but I know he'll hear this tape anyway. How wise is it though? This isn't the most major fight in the world. You can't be there with your fighter. It's an 8-round swing bout. Maybe you just say, you know what? Let's take this one off.
Well, I mean, you know, maybe you do, but I would, in this instance, you know, he's had such problems getting work for Derrick Banks, as you alluded to earlier, those big blank spots in his career. He gets a fight scheduled, and, you know, he doesn't want to turn anything down because, you know, the kid has suffered from inactivity over his career. He feels like he's a good prospect, and he wants to, you know, have him have the opportunity. I'm sure they discussed it and, you know, worked it out amongst themselves. But yeah, sometimes you do have to say no. But at the same time, like you said, with two-year blank spots in his record, he doesn't need to turn down many fights.
"20 seconds to go in round number 2. Schedule for 8. Jerry McKenzie, Iron Man. They work the refs hard in Texas. A lot of bouts on a card.
Talk about them. Look at the timekeepers.
Round number 3, schedule for 8. So far, Bob, I got to tell you, it's been all Richardo Kennedy.
Well, I had the second round a lot closer than the first, but, you know, he's waiting a little bit on Banks now, and Banks isn't throwing many punches, but in the first round, Kennedy seemed willing to drop that right hand in there, and I think had some good success with it, but he really didn't pull the string in the second round much.
Banks isn't listening to his corner, though. They told him to throw a lot more jabs. Hook off the jab, throw a lot of jabs, and make Kennedy jab. And he's doing nothing. He's not throwing any punches at all.
Yeah, I think Kennedy got sucked into that a little bit, but that's why the second round was so slow. But I mean, I know that Melvin Rivas in the corner told him, he said, look, drop that right hand. You're getting sucked into this guy's activity, which was good. Banks, maybe Derrick Banks is trying to set something up, or maybe he's missing Dick Woods right now.
Good left, backs up Kennedy, backs up Banks.
Banks is a pretty awkward kind of springy fighter. I think he switched stances 2 or 3 times here in this round.
Yeah, I've noticed that he'll go to the southpaw stance, but he won't do anything.
Out of it, yeah.
He doesn't know how, I don't think. Oh, good outside right by Kennedy.
Just behind the mark there, barely. But he's smothering him, Banks, but he's just not. Well, there he tries to throw some punches, but now he's holding again.
Just no offense coming out of Banks. Nothing sustained anyway.
I mean, you would think, look, you would think it, you know, looking at the size and reach difference of the two of them, that Derrick, I think Banks was cut with that long right hand at the end of, back when he was in this corner. Maybe it's just an abrasion on his eye or whatever, but he sure seems like he's having some fun.
Not even coming close to listening to the instructions of his corner between rounds, but she asked him to jab. That's the first double jab he's thrown in the fight.
I didn't believe he did get cut a little bit on that eye.
Right hand lead lands. Under 10 seconds to go in round number 3. Kennedy showing just a little bit too much respect when he had
Well, maybe
Banks
he's
trapped in the corner.
Maybe he tasted some of Banks' power or whatever, but Derrick. Chuck McGregor's in there trying to pick up with Krishna Wainwright, Banks' former stablemate and now underling, understudy trainer for Dick Woods.
Round 4, it's a schedule for 8. Pretty
Derrick,
much a
even though
shutout
he's
at this point for Richardo Kennedy, I would have to say.
Yeah, well, just from Banks' inactivity, if nothing else. Kennedy hasn't really gotten a lot of things done, but he's making the fight.
Again, that awkward switch to southpaw on the part of Banks. Wonder if he's a converted southpaw. He's starting to take some bombs now from Kennedy.
Landed a right hook of his own there.
Good right hand lead from Richardo Kennedy. First time he's used that punch in the fight, and we're about halfway gone here in round number 4. That's Kennedy in the solid black. Derrick Banks, black with gold trim. Kennedy's 8-1, has 1 draw. All of his wins came by way of knockout. He just made a big right, enough to make Derrick Banks stick out his tongue and then look back over his corner and say, hey, look what I just did. He's starting to land a little bit now on Richardo Kennedy for the first time in a fight. Banks starting to get a little bit of confidence. Still a minute to go here in round number 4, Bob.
I don't know what kind of tactic Derrick's employing here, because when he does pull the string and let his punches go, he has some success, but he's letting Kennedy make this fight, and just through sheer numbers alone, it's going to be difficult to come back from this. He doesn't do a little bit more for boxing here. I was so impressed by Banks when he beat Jonathan Grant. I really expected a better performance from him here today, but
just as quickly as he was there, he's left.
he's taking Kennedy out of his fight too, but he's
oh God, that eye just split wide open. Holy cow!
The fight's over with.
That's it. This may be called the no contest, though, Bob. Oh, we're going to go up to our ring announcer, Angela Blevins, with the official call. We'll figure out exactly what they call us. Go ahead, Angela.
Boxing fans, Judge Jerry McKenzie stops the bout at 2 minutes and 52 seconds into round 4. Your winner out of the red corner, Richardo Kennedy.
And there you have it, another great show on Heavyweight Explosion. Obed Sullivan keeps his IBF Intercontinental title by a knockout win over Thomas Williams. James Gaines goes the full 10, remains undefeated, improving to 12-0. We got a chance to see Junior Jones. He's back on track with a knockout win. He's up to 36-2. So that's it on Heavyweight Explosion.